what drag queen censorship is really about. Drag phobia is simply an extension of our country's long and shameful history on homophobia and transphobia. What is worse is that children are being used as pawns. Like any art form, drag can be beautiful, inspirational, silly, humorous, sad, thought-provoking, and crass. For the LGBTQ plus community, drag performers have been our champions, our advocates, and our outspoken leaders. Much of the anti-drag rhetoric began when social conservative lawmakers caught wind of drag queen story hours, family-friendly events where performers dressed in drag, often as princesses, mermaids, or other whimsical characters, and read age-appropriate books to children. The books frequently have themes of acceptance, diversity, and understanding differences. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has targeted drag queens through legislation, forcing Treasure Coast Pride to choose between drag performers and having a pride parade at all. The Pride Parade at Treasure Coast Pride was canceled, and the event was made 21 years and older and up. That I had to say someone's name, first of all, reminds me about why we have to do what we have to do. And that as we think about, again, the pride events that are happening, not only here in Fort Lauderdale, but around the world, these are things that we have to stand up against. We cannot allow people like the governor of Florida to take control and say who can and can't come to Pride. I just remember, again, being at a Pride event and seeing all the young people who were there for the very first time, families with their children being there, and there was no one monitoring who or what was in the parade. I mean, there was dykes on bikes, there was military in uniform marching. I mean, it was an education opportunity to see people march and parade. It was an honor to be in a parade, and people love that. And I think that we have to now reaffirm ourselves as human beings and stand our ground here in Florida up to our governor to say we are not going to be shaken by any of the legislation that you're passing and or attempting to pull over any of us. We see you for who you are, and we will not stand for it.
It's true, and we have this thing about 21. And I heard someone just on the news the other day. The interviewer was saying, well, why don't you want people to be able to drag? They can do drag all they want, just not in front of children. Please. By making it 20, what do you have to be 21 to do? You have to be 21 to buy alcohol. You have to be, you can be 18 to serve in the military. You can be 16 to drive a car, but you have to be 21 to buy alcohol. You have to be 21 to go into a strip club. You have to be, so what they're saying is that there's just something naughty, something bad, something perverse about drag that you have to protect children from. And that is demonizing queer people. That is another way of erasing, of demonizing, of dehumanizing queer people. That you're so, yeah, you get to be horrible, but because you're horrible, people have to be 21 to even lay eyes on you. We're not going to take that. We're going to resist that, of course. So yeah, this idea that you have to, it's adult entertainment. It can be. Oh, I have seen some shows that were, ooh, do you know where I was? I was in a nightclub. I'm 56 years old. I got carded to walk in. So I doubt if the 8-year-old was right behind me. So yes, I was in an adult thing because I enjoy blue humor, and I will give you some. I love blue humor, but it was an adult venue. I promise they weren't doing it at the public library. I promise when they were reading The Little Mermaid, they just read the story. And so this idea of that we, in 30-something states, almost 500 bills in state legislation, that this is a systematic and legislative way of demonizing, dehumanizing, and demoralizing queer people. The shorthand word for that is oppression. And any church that calls itself about the gospel is the good news is justice for all. The good news is nobody's left out. The good news is everyone has sacred value. And so if we're going to stand for the gospel, we cannot stand for oppression.
I will tell you, the Florida of the 2020s reminds me way too much of Germany in the 1930s. This is not hyperbole.
No.
If you look at what's going on right now, they are picking specific groups of people to attack.
Targeting.
They are targeting. They are telling us that the books that we read must be sanitized. They're telling us that instead of calling it the slave trade, they're calling it the Atlantic trade something or another. And to pick out the drag community, that's like the low-hanging fruit. It's easy to do that because it's such a small community, and I think the governor thought it was going to be a very quiet community. Well, we're going to wake them up and tell them 1930s Germany does not live in 2023 Florida.
And I have faith that justice, the judicial system will prevail, but it takes time. And in the meantime, they will have raised a lot of money on the backs of this for their political aims and goals.
And protecting the children, saving the children, that's easy. That's, people, got to take care of the children, take care of the children. The children are fine. The children.
Sure would love to feed the children.
And wouldn't that be great? Or maybe protect them from the guns that are in the school or something like that. But protecting them from somebody reading a story in a costume or in drag. I just don't understand it. I just
They
don't get
accuse it of being indoctrination.
And I get that.
But it's
I
not
understand.
indoctrination to say people exist.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's just not.
Exactly.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.